My name's Jill Hadley. Welcome to my podcast, Being a Human Lighthouse. I was a physiotherapist for over 30 years, and now I'm an online somatic therapist. My goal is to reconnect myself and reconnect my clients to their own inner wisdom, because that's what I have discovered is the most important ingredient in having true health and a happy life. Being a physiotherapist, and even in my own life, I noticed that even you can get a lot of hands-on therapy, lots of exercises, change your diet, but still there can be some issues. I often notice that clients would often be recurring and coming back time and time again for the same thing. And I was always curious about why was that? Why do people have to live with these things? I mean, sometimes people do. I'm not saying that it's wrong in every case, but more often than we believe or have been led to believe, we don't have to manage things. Sometimes we actually can access the potential to change and not live with something, or have it come up a lot less often and look at it in a different light. There's often this unaddressed emotional issue or energy. I mean, everything is energy, whether it's glucose, that we use to use our muscles. Everything in the body is energy. Everything is frequency and vibration in the physics term. It doesn't even have to be energy in a woo-woo term, which I know some people hear the word energy and think, oh, woo-woo. But even with science, everything is energy. Everything is frequency and vibration. That's just the way we are, especially on the quantum level. It's even more interesting and fascinating. So going back to the body, that we often hold on to these unprocessed emotions, unprocessed energies, our beliefs can be held within our body if we haven't had the time or the understanding or the assistance to help release them. We often keep holding on. And there's more and more and more evidence that a lot of chronic illnesses can be because we just keep suppressing and repressing these things. People pleasers can be suppressing anger, which can then get suppressed so much that if you can't express yourself, can end up with depression, anxiety. That's one form. A lot of chronic illnesses can form. It's whatever forms is whatever is your particular weak spot for you, based on your particular genetic predisposition and all the context within your life, what's happened to you in the past, what you've grown up with, what you know, what's familiar. So there's always our own individual component to it. That's what makes it tricky, because there's like an infinite number of expressions with chronic issues and illnesses, but there's very, very, very few different root causes. So I've always been fascinated by the root cause of things. And a lot of times we're not looking for that. A lot of times we're just addressing things on the surface. But life, a lot of things, they keep coming back that may be more like the iceberg, that we're only addressing the surface, what we can see. But if we really want a more thorough, longer-term solution, then we need to address what's under the surface and the root cause. And look, it may be unpleasant, maybe not easy, but that's my passion about what I want to do. And I know that with myself and my own issues, I sit with a lot of the unpleasant sensations and deep dive into my own areas that have been squashed and suppressed. And it's not easy. And it really is helpful to have another person who is open and able to sit and hold the experience of someone else. If you choose someone who doesn't have that ability, they'll often squash you or say things that might be inappropriate and actually make the problem worse. But having someone who's open and done their own work, the more someone's done their own work, the more you are a space to hold for others and understand with compassion the pain of others that you're listening to. So then you can be a really great mirror or a safe space for someone else. And that's what I do with my work today. I'm now considering call myself an online somatic therapist because I sit with people who have done all the exercises, had manual therapy, ticked all the boxes of what they're supposed to do, but still they have pain. Still they have a chronic injury or illness. And I'm not saying that what I'm doing fixes everything, but it's another component, another way to address it that's not commonly known. And by sitting with people and just using different tools and skills, we allow any sort of energy or emotion or situation or belief that gets trapped in the body to shift. And it's about allowing the person to notice and see what's underneath. And often we come up with our own insights and clarity. And as we sit with ourselves and maybe with another person in this safe space, the unpleasant sensations are masking our inner wisdom underneath. And if we give it a little bit of space, the inner wisdom shows and then allows these unprocessed emotions to move on, move out, maybe a little bit unpleasant while they go out. But if you sit with that knowing you're safe, you're in a safe space, it passes, and you often feel a bit lighter. And that just means that one more layer or even a teaspoon of repression, suppression, or unrepressed or unexpressed emotions have been moved, and means you're one step closer to your own inner wisdom. So what is inner wisdom that I'm talking about? All of us have this capacity. There's this optimal version of ourselves that if we dealt with everything perfectly and life had everything had happened in perfect circumstances, not that that's possible, but there is a part of us that is just perfection, knows how to respond to everything, knows how to deal with everything, knows how to heal everything. I mean, our body does know how to heal. I mean, cut yourself, body heals. Then you have a fracture. Like the medical professionals can put it close together, but the healing has to come from within. A lot of medical things are just assisting us. The pills are assisting our own immune system to heal. So we will have that innate system. But it gets blocked with the more faulty beliefs we have, the more emotions we've had to suppress and repress, and just sometimes the environmental context. I mean, sometimes it hasn't been safe to express who we are, so we've had to squash it for its safety, and that's a really good coping mechanism. When something's safe to let go and it's causing you harm and creating illness, then it needs to be let go. And a lot of the chronic symptoms are just your body telling you something has to change, something has to be done differently. The traditional way of looking at symptoms are that we have to squash them, get rid of the symptoms, they're bad. But if you just flip it around, of course, symptoms aren't great. I'm not saying keep them. We do want them to go, but by making them wrong creates a bigger problem. We often end up squashing the real problem and missing the root cause. But if we look at the symptoms and say, my body's giving me clues. What does the body need to get back into its balance? Because anytime we're having like extreme unpleasant emotions or sensations or illness, it means we have deviated from the optimal version of ourselves, that perfect version of ourselves that can heal things. So symptoms are often saying we're off track and need to get back on track. So it's about the more we can tune back in to that inner wisdom, the more we get back on track, usually more of all those unpleasant symptoms and sensations and things reduce. They get easier to manage. We find better solutions. Of course, I'm talking about a massive topic. There's always caveats for this, caveats for that. But in general speaking, it's about uncovering our true self. Our inner wisdom is this optimal version of ourselves that just knows everything. It's connected to the universe. It knows how to heal. It knows how to digest our food. It knows how to go to the bathroom and release unwanted waste. If the more we can access that innate ability and harness it and listen to it, because it's talking to us, and that's what symptoms are. It's telling us we're getting off track. Unpleasant emotions, we're getting off track. They're not bad, they're just signs. They're just giving us clues. So learning how to read those clues are really, 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 really important. And it's a skill and a practice. And it's a development. And often we haven't been trained to look at it this way and to tune in like this. Nearly all of us, including me, we all are on, until we reach Buddha status, we've all got things we need to let go of. If you think about this perfect version of ourselves as being like this inner center part of us, and over the top of it is just layers and layers and layers of mud and dirt that represent unresolved emotions, traumas, faulty belief systems, or just coping strategies we've had to use to get through life to keep us safe because we didn't have anything better at the time. And now those coping strategies aren't working and creating issues. So they're just these layers on top. So as we learn to let go of the layers, piece by piece, little bit by little bit, we're getting closer and closer to this optimal version of ourselves. And our body is all working together. The nervous system is all working with this. So the more layers we have on top, it usually means the poor innate immune system is being overloaded with keeping that down, keeping those energies contained and suppressed. And as that uses up a lot of energy, right? Energy that could be used for something else, digestion, healing. So as we let go of these outer layers and these emotions and patterns will change the way we think, change our belief system, then we free up this energy so our immune system and the nervous system can actually do its job properly, which means it's going back, get back to that center, back to that optimal alignment. And the clue that we're on the right track is, how are we feeling? What are our symptoms? A really common condition that I used to see with people, probably women more than men, but everyone, would be they would come in with chronic neck and shoulder pain. And I would always just go, well, anything else happening in your life? And I don't think there was too many people who didn't stop and think and go and tell me about a whole lot of other stress happening in their life. So if you just think about something stressful and even imagine something stressful, we tend to clamp down, breathe shallow, use these muscles to tighten up. The stress often changes our breath pattern. When we calm and relax, we use our diaphragm. These muscles are secondary muscles. We're not meant to use them all the time for breathing, only in emergencies. So if we're actually calm and looking at life from, again, the optimal alignment, our inner wisdom, we tend to breathe lower and slower from the diaphragm. And that in itself, everything works together. The diaphragm's linked up with the fascia system, everything moving and sliding and communicating with all the rest of the body about what it needs to do. When we're stressed, diaphragm doesn't work. The other stretching doesn't give the communication through the body. Our chemicals in our body become like adrenaline, cortisol, which tenses everything. Also, when we're stressed, we breathe shallow, so we're using the secondary muscles. So if you do that for a short period of time, not a problem. You do that day after day, year after year, you're going to end up with headaches, neck pain, shoulder problems. And so many times clients would be really resistant to looking at changing that. They just want exercise. Like exercise can help. But why do things keep coming back? What's the root cause? If you actually address what's driving that tension, not only are you going to get the exercise to work better, because exercising with a tense system, potentially not great for the muscles or joints either. But if we can calm that system down and get it to work in the right position with the right breath, get the chemicals changing, less cortisol, less adrenaline, doing things from an optimal posture. Because again, tension tends to be this, makes everything short, changes it here, makes everything short and tense. If you open up, again, optimal alignment, the muscles and soft tissue are going to be working from the optimal position. Even from a physical position, it changes. The breath is important for everything. People used to go, well, we breathe. Yes, of course we breathe. But if you're breathing from the stress muscles, that chronic tension puts a lot of strain on the neck. And then those nerves can irritate going up to the head, from the shoulders, down the arms, chest. Can even affect lower down because the connective tissue and fascia links everything. So if you don't understand what I mean, a little quick test to do right now is just to think a thought that's quite stressful. Something, if you think something stressful, like nobody likes me, and just notice the reaction in your body, because our thoughts, it's all connected. The chemicals change with our thoughts. And so they will tense, no one likes me. All right, so you can see just thought can change the emotions, can change the tension in the body. So it always is a two-way street. We can always change it back the other way. So just, okay, my thoughts are doing that. Can I sit optimally? Can I just breathe lower and slower? Is there a different thought that I can use? Even that some people don't like me, but many people do. We can change the thought as well into something more realistic, because often we just choose the worst one. And that just creates the tension. So just by sitting as straight as you can, so you open up the chest, allow the diaphragm to work, it decreases tension in the shoulders, but just breathe low and slow. And if you were tense, you do a few low and slow breaths, trying to get that air down to your belly, down towards the pelvis. And try to relax and wiggle here so you're not using here so much. Even just doing 3 to 5 breaths. Just check in again with your body. Has it changed anything? Does it do anything? That underlying driver and tension is what is changing the muscle tension, which is what squeezes the joints and the nerves and creates problems. And even if people have long-term issues, even just taking a bit of tension off can actually decrease the pain, because a lot of research, you have lots of changes in the joints and not necessarily have to have pain. It's usually if there's increased inflammation that it drives pain. So what happens with increased inflammation? That's your chronic stress. That's the faulty beliefs, the faulty thinking, the fears. So the calmer the system, less inflammation, generally decreases pain, even if you've got lots of arthritis or changes. It can always complement whatever else you're doing. It's not in replace of anything. It's never in replace of anything. It's just a complement to help everything else work better. Because if you're breathing calmer, if you're allowing things to be in their right optimal alignment, the exercises can work better. The stretches can work better. The massages will last longer. You won't need them so frequently. So that's just a little bit about how getting to the root cause is really important for optimal health. And one of the reasons of why I try to teach people to get to that root cause by changing their alignment, changing just what they're feeling and thinking, what's going on in the internal chemistry. And again, it's about self-empowerment. Once you know how to do it yourself, good, you've got a tool for life. And they can help you in situations. But it's a skill. And it's a complementary skill. It should be innate to all of us, but life has got so many stresses that we've adapted and just haven't learned how to get out of that. And even with really, really, really stressful life situations, it can be just helpful just to sit and breathe. Because again, getting into that calmer, we call the parasympathetic state, or the ventral vagal state, depending on which terminology you want to use. But just calming the nervous system down so it's in the healing state rather than the chronic stress state. We think differently. We actually access our intuition and our ability to open up to wider possibilities and solutions. So even when life's really, really not going well, the more we can just stop and pause and calm the system down, we're often able to then access some of our own wisdom, which is more like, we're a bit more like TV antennas and radio antennas, and we're picking up our wisdom, not just seeing what's in here. Okay, if we only go about here, we'll never learn anything new. So if we can calm down, we're like radio antennas, we're picking up something new, which can be a really good way to find solutions. And it is the way to find solutions because it comes an insight and intuition. Oh, okay, I can do that. Whereas when we're super stressed, we close down and like, oh, I can't. We're not thinking. Not great decisions are made from that stress state. Like, so to finish off, I usually do my short meditative healing process. It combines a whole lot of things at once to help calm the nervous system. So as you do this, I encourage you to either sit down or lie down, not to walk or drive or do anything active, because healing and accessing our inner wisdom requires our presence, our attention, our awareness. And doing other things, we're not aware or present. So we're giving ourselves and our wisdom our attention. So sitting or lying, you can close your eyes or keep them open, up to you. I just invite you to notice, where are you sitting or lying? How is your body supported right now? Are your feet on the floor? Can you feel the floor? You imagine roots growing from the soles of your feet down to the center of the earth to really ground you in the physical, material world. Be connected to the world around us, which provides us with all the oxygen we need, the water we need, all the food we need, and recycle all the things that we no longer need. And you just connect to that with the roots growing from the soles of your feet. Can you imagine an electrical cord going from the center of the top of your head and is plugged into the center of the universe? You're grounded to the earth below and you're plugged in to the center of the universe above. All around you is space that's not empty. It's all part of this infinite space of the universe that you're connected to. And within it contains all the wisdom and knowledge that we could ever need. I want you to breathe low and slow. As you breathe in, imagine every cell in your body is filling up with this infinite wisdom and knowledge of the universe. It's nourishing every cell in your body. And as you breathe out, you're letting go of all the beliefs and energies that you no longer need. Breathe in, fill up every cell in your body with the wisdom of the universe. What do you need to know? Breathe out, let go of everything you no longer need. I'm going to invite you just to scan through your body. Are there any areas that are unpleasant? Any sensations there? Emotions? Do your best just to not react to them, just notice them. Don't judge them. They may not be pleasant, but your body communicating with you. You just want to observe it and listen. Be curious. Unpleasant sensations in our body are often rather repressed and suppressed energy and emotions in our body. And just by being curious and non judgmental, and just observing them with this compassion and desire to be witnessing them can help them heal and shift. We're not trying to make anything change, we're just allowing it to be there. The energies and sensations have become too intense and too unpleasant. You get overwhelmed, just open your eyes, come back, focus, feet on the floor. Just 10 seconds is enough. But if you can stay with it longer, just observe what happens. Does anything change? Sometimes these sensations expand with our attention. Sometimes these sensations shrink and dissolve. Sometimes they morph into something else. It's different every time. Be curious about what's happening now. Just be aware that these are the unprocessed emotions that are in your body. And just by observing them, can help them release. Step 3 is now. I want you to imagine, what would life be like if you could live according to your inner wisdom, your optimal self, the perfect version of you? What would be happening in your life? What would you feel if you were living from this inner wisdom? It's more important to know what you feel inside, like joy, expansion, openness. If images come up about situations or circumstances, that's fine. We're not trying to create anything material, because our inner wisdom knows what we really need to make us happy. And if we are feeling joy and open and expansive and light, it doesn't matter what shows up on the outside world. If it matches that, we're going to enjoy it. And sometimes our own wants may be smaller. I just invite you to tune into your body and your heart area. How would you feel if you were living a life of your dreams, connected to your own inner wisdom, doing work that was purposeful and meaningful to you, that just lit you up with enthusiasm and excitement? What would it feel like to live in the perfect place for you? What sort of people would be in your life? Be surrounded with loving and supportive people who inspire you and lift you up to be even better every day. What would that feel like? What would it feel like to know you are living from your heart and being your true self? How would it feel? Just by feeling these sensations, we're activating the innate immune system and the healing system of our body. These healing chemicals are very powerful. And if we cultivate them, they can help us a lot to actually tune in and actually guide us towards what it is that's in our heart that would make us feel this great. I invite you to take 3 more slow, deep breaths as you feel how great it would be to live according to your inner wisdom, the optimal life for you. Feel those wonderful, expansive sensations. Now, if you're ready, you can gently open your eyes. Just connect back to your feet on the floor, where are your hands, with your fingers and toes. Just check in with your body. Do you feel any different? Do you feel lighter? Has something shifted? Did you have an insight? Or was it unpleasant? Sometimes when things are too overwhelming and unpleasant, sometimes we do need the help of someone who's trauma informed, trauma aware to assist. So it can be a sign that maybe you need a little bit more assistance. A lot of things can be done on our own and are good to continue on our own, but sometimes things can be too much for us and we need some professional assistance. That's a sign and a clue. Well, thank you for tuning in this week and talk to you again next week. Have a good week.